Well, good morning. This is the November 13th, 2025 meeting of the Budget, Capital, and Personnel Committee of Tompkins County. Looks like we have our full slate here tonight. Today. It's morning, isn't it? Deborah Dawson, our Vice Chair, along with Shauna Black, Randy Brown, Veronica Pillar, and Lee Shurtleff, all legislators.
And Daryl and Ruby.
Oh, Daryl, certainly. Daryl, our Director of Finance. And
really important
and
people.
Ruby, our Commissioner of Human Resources, and Larry Workman, of course, who is indispensable.
I think so.
I would agree.
Taylor, I don't see any changes to the agenda. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do we have any public comment this morning?
No.
Nobody wants to talk to us today. They just yell at us on the email. I've been reading emails the last couple of days.
I got yelled at plenty yesterday.
Uh-oh. Can we take the minutes of October 9th? Deborah moves them, seconded by Shauna. Any discussion, changes, corrections? Those in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. For my report, simply that it'll be next Tuesday that we finally adopt the budget, hopefully, and it'll be the end of a long process going back to April, and it'll start the next process.
Are you coming back for that, Mike?
I don't think so, but I will be at the edge of my seat watching what's going on. Veronica, do you have anything to talk to us about workforce diversity and inclusion?
Not much. Last full legislature meeting gave the report from our last committee meeting, which had two main topics there where we heard from Lisa Monroe from the Office for the Aging about their equity indicators, and we also had a robust discussion about the Chief Equity and Diversity Officer position and the proposal to add it to the county charter. And I would, I guess, encourage people to go back and watch that. It's like toward the first half of the meeting, if so interested. The short answer is the position has been just extremely important and valuable to the work that WDIC does. Also, nominations for the Leslyn McBean Claiborne Strength and Diversity Award have closed, and the committee to choose an awardee is meeting tomorrow. And
how many nominees do you have, Veronica?
9.
Wow.
And, oh, yes, and the next WDIC meeting is going to be Monday, November 24th, 2 days earlier than usual to avoid Thanksgiving. So the agenda for that will be coming out early next week.
Thank you, Veronica. I did want to mention that Ann Corman has joined us on the screen. She's another one of our legislators. I don't see anybody. Who's here from administration to report to us?
Norma.
Who?
I am. I'd been waiting in the wings.
Norma. I didn't see your name.
No worries. Yeah, so I don't really have a much of an additional report. I will say that as everybody I think has seen, there's been a change to the tax cap due to some updated information that we received from finance. So our tax cap is actually higher than we originally anticipated at it's almost 3.6%, just under 3.6%, which is a positive for us as far as the budget deliberations have and the numbers we're seeing right now.
Would you say that again?
Go ahead.
What is the tax cap now? 3.6?
It's 3.6. it's slightly rounded up. It's 3.5. Not it's if you're going out 4 decimal places, it's just under 3.6%.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Can we, yeah, go ahead, Lee, and then we'll let her finish.
So the proposed budget that we'll be voting on next week, we were just slightly higher than the 3.6, correct?
No, we were at 3.
No, we're below the tax cap at this point.
We are below, okay.
We're, I believe we are at 3.37. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but that's what I think I remember is 3.37. So we're just about $122,000 below the tax cap.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Norma, if you have other
No,
things.
yeah. So I really had no other report except to ask you to consider the resolution that county administration has brought forward.
All right, before we take that, are there any questions for Norma? Don't see any. Then why don't we go for this resolution? Elimination of unbudgeted and vacant positions to enhance position control and fiscal stewardship. Someone want to move that?
It's easy for you to say.
Deborah moves it. I don't know, and Randy seconds it. You want to talk about it, Norma?
So this is in working with the Human Resource Office. One of the things that is troublesome for us each year is to try to manage through what positions are vacant, which positions are, vacant and unfunded versus vacant and funded, and kind of trying to monitor those. Another thing that can happen, not that it always does, but another thing that can happen with those vacancies is things can be converted and positions can shift really without going through the normal course of legislative approval, just because of the way the system is set up. This just limits how much transition can take place within the roster, the personnel roster. We have also, although we've added in 15, as you see, 15 positions that would be housed by the Human Resource Office, just in case we have an emergency fill that has to take place. Those would be, cases like that might be if we have somebody that's out on disability and we have to bring another position in to backfill that position for a temporary, short term. We would have those positions available to manage through those without having to wait for the legislative approval for several months going through the process. I hope that made sense. I stumbled on my words just a little.
Okay, I think that's helpful. My question is, this directs Human Resources to do some things like conduct an annual review and of these things. Is that going to be within your work plan, okay?
Yes, it is.
Ruby
Yes.
Pulliam, our commissioner.
Currently, we have a staff person who monitors the list of positions allocated to a department, whether they are funded or unfunded. And she's the one who takes care of all the position conversions. So yes, that is still within our work plan.
Thank you. Randy.
Yes, Norma, thanks for going through this. I think it's important. But what is the net effect of this? Is there actually current vacant positions that are being removed?
Yes. I believe, if I remember it correctly, it's somewhere around 400 to 500 positions that are sitting out.
4 or 5?
Yes.
Okay.
It's between 400 and 500 positions that are vacant, unfunded, that are active, which is, and Ruby and I have had this conversation many times. It's actually a real benefit. It's going to be some work up front to take care of this, but it's going to really clean things up quite a bit to help us manage the roster.
Yeah, I think it's really important. So the 15 other positions, they're not currently funded, but they may be. Is that the thought?
So within our fiscal policy, Randy, we have the ability, so if somebody goes out on a disability, the fiscal policy allows for a certain amount of time of vacancy that the contingent fund would backfill that position. So that's what those are for. So that's part of our current fiscal policy to assist departments is to prevent, major delays in public service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Are we ready to vote on this? Those in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did want to go next to our Director of Finance, Darrell Tuttle. I see you've got quite a list of things to go through today.
Yes, thank you. Let me just share my screen real quick, make it a little easier. Did we want to go through the resolutions first or the reports, the quarterly reports?
Let's just go ahead and do the reports first, then we'll do the resolutions.
They're more interesting.
We'll see if we got any money to pay the resolutions.
Morning.
Okay, what I've shared on the screen here for everyone is just what's part of the agenda packet itself, which starts off with the quarterly reports. So the first one is for our casino revenue, which the first one just kind of shows it from comparison up through September 30th from all the years from 2025 all the way back to 2020. So what it looks like is up through the third quarter, we have received $1,970,683. Now, just to give that comparison to 2024, which is not as obvious there, last year up through the third quarter, we received $1,864,000, which is approximately about 5% more this year than last year. Now, what we have consistently done historically is budget 2.1 million, so it appears we're on track to go above the budget this year as well and exceed last year's amount. Any questions about the casino report?
Randy?
Did we budget 2.1 million for 2026 as well?
I believe so.
Okay, thanks.
I would just say, I won't be here next year to say my normal caution, and that is casino revenues can go up and they can go down. And budgeting conservatively makes sense with these kind of revenues.
And you said we've budgeted 2.1 million?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, the next slide here is still about the casino. It just shows the split out between the two casinos and over the years comparison. The next report is the quarterly sales tax. Most of these numbers should look similar because I reported on September sales tax at the Ledge not too long ago. So what it looks like is the total sales tax collected in the county itself for the third quarter is $21,123,162, which is actually a decrease of 1.2% compared to last year's third quarter. Now, the year-to-date, though, January up through September, is actually a 4% increase from 2024 to 2025. Now, when it comes to just the portion that the county keeps, the third quarter is $11,881,000, which shows the same percentage decrease of the overall tax collected, but also mimics the percent change from year-to-date as well, 2024 compared to 2025. The municipalities, not counting the city, is 5.1 thousand, which is actually a 2.34% increase this quarter compared to third quarter of last year. And the year-to-date is a 5.36 increase compared to last year. Now, the city of Ithaca is 4.1 million, which is a 5.3% decrease compared to the third quarter last year, but overall, year-to-date is a 2.6% increase. Now, the budget, we budget for $43,240,000 for sales tax that's unallocated. That's after taking out everything that gets allocated to the municipalities and the certain programs that is part of the sales tax agreement. And the actuals is $32,609,000, so we're actually budget to actual 75%, 75.42%, so we're right on track. The next screen is just the usual quarterly graph that shows our budget to actual in a much more eye-pleasing way, and you know, the comparison from 2022 all the way to 2025. Any question regarding sales tax?
Randy?
Yeah, thanks, Darrell. So this is a little different than the one we received a few weeks ago. So this has been reconciled, so this is accurate through the third quarter?
The only difference is it focuses more on the third quarter itself rather than the last one that we just showed you was September. Was just the comparison of the month of September. Okay. September is considered a reconciliation month, so all of that should have been taken care of in the numbers, but they're very similar. The only difference is the one presented at the Ledge meeting was focused more on the month of September itself, and this one's on the whole quarter.
Okay. And my last question is, at the end of the year, after you reconcile for the whole year, could you provide documentation showing where the allocated sales tax, where it went, and to how much it went to each of those through the sales tax agreement? I'd like to know of the sales tax, certain amount is allocated, correct, through the sales tax agreement? So I'd just like to see what, at the end of the year, what that was.
I can put together something based on the sales tax agreement compared to the actuals.
Great, yeah, sometime next year, great.
Thank you.
When I look at this report, what kind of makes me scratch my head, and I'm not complaining because I'm a rural rep, but I can't understand why the city sales tax isn't more, especially with all the activity in the Southwest that we've been seeing down in the all the stores moving from the mall down there, and yet the actual revenues are smaller, a percentage, and you probably don't have any way to comment on that. I don't know, but it just seems odd to me.
Might that be the impact of online sales?
Could be.
Because, you know, it's speaking for people who live in North Lansing at least, and probably in Groton. They don't like to go down to Ithaca, so they may be doing more of their shopping online.
But somehow the online, they have to determine where the people live, I guess, by the zip codes or something. And
yeah.
14850 is a pretty large zip code. Goes outside the city.
Well, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a few questions. My first one is wanted to make sure that your numbers included the online sales that they're capturing.
I believe they do. I can check to make sure, but as far as I understand, yes, it's all sales tax.
Okay. And then also the online gambling, is that captured in casino tax?
I do not believe it is, but I can check to make sure.
Okay. And then last question is on the hotel sales tax. Wondering if we might be able to see somewhat of a breakdown of that. I'd be interested to see if tourism is up or down, as well as at one point we used to receive a list of hotels that were not submitting hotel sales tax to the county. And I'd love to see that list again and make sure that our county attorney's involved in trying to recoup those taxes for us.
I know I talked to Nick, and he said he does present one to the committee that he reports to, and he was supposed to share it and include it in this one. I believe there's only one that's outstanding at the moment, but I can definitely get that information. And we did just send some correspondence back, but
Okay,
I can get that information and present it better at these committees.
that'd be great, thank you. And we can go into executive session so we don't name names, if that is helpful. Or we can't, I don't care. I'd love to know who it is.
Deborah.
This is more of an observation than a question, but I'm looking, it's hard to tell from here which of those two lines, the one that goes sharply down from the third quarter to the fourth?
The blue one, which is the one that's the farthest down, that's actually 2023.
Okay,
The light green one, it's 2025,
Right.
and the red one is 2024.
okay, but I'm noticing that the last couple of years, that the sales tax receipts have not gone up appreciably in the fourth quarter, which kind of surprises me because that's Christmas shopping. And so I'm somewhat concerned to see this downturn in the third quarter. And I suspect that our sales tax revenues for this fourth quarter may be affected by the shutdown and the impact that it's had. So I think we need to be watching this pretty closely because if it doesn't recover, I fear we might be seeing a trend.
We can definitely keep our eyes on it and look for any trends. I can speak for October, which that sales tax just came in this morning. And it is, I believe, we're still looking at it to verify everything, but around 3.5% to 4% above last year's October. And I'll be presenting that at the Ledge meeting. It just came in this morning.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
So that, just to give a little relief or comfort to know that it's not spiraling down, but it's
But then there's November.
correct.
Okay.
And to address the last question, I can look into getting more information on online sales and the city sales tax.
Sitting here thinking, as to Shauna's question about casino revenues, whether the online gambling is added to that, and I don't think it is. It seems like when that was passed, we don't get a share of that. I think it goes to the state, but I could be wrong, so I'm glad you're going to look at it, Daryl. Thank you.
You're welcome. I believe Norma's.
Yep, Norma's hand.
Norma.
Thank you. Daryl, have we seen a change in the sales tax for fuel as well? Just based on, because the electric cars we have more electric cars on the road. Has that made any change to our sales tax collections for fuel?
I don't know those specifics off the top of my head, but I can definitely look at it and see what information either NISAC or the Office of Taxation has to see if I can compare it and see if that's had any effect. And then
Yeah, if we see that kind of a trend, we may want to keep that in mind for next year. That's all.
Anyone else on this part of the report? Okay, go ahead, Daryl.
So the next report is on contingency account, and the title, I did put it on the agenda as accounts because due to a decision by county administration, we actually have two of them. One just labeled the regular contingency account, and the second one, the mandate contingency account. And actually, this information leads to one of the resolutions I have on BCP. But as you can see here, there's a few items, but we still have about 729,000 available in the contingency account up through November 3rd.
Deborah?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to recall that we don't necessarily know how much contingent spending we did until we balanced things out after the first of the year. But is this contingent fund, as of 12/31, it's done, and then we start on the new one for 2026? I'm trying to understand. the significance of having $700 and some thousand minus the 95 that we're going to spend today at this late date in the year.
Well, please note that there was a resolution in the middle of the year to increase the contingency account from fund balance, I believe, of $800,000. So at this moment, if no other spending, the way the contingency account works for the most way, with the exception of a few encumbrances we've done, is it gets moved out of there. It's a holding place, and that budget there, once it's approved by the ledge, gets moved to the unit and the account that you guys have approved it to be moved to. So even if we stopped using contingency, you still, because of the increase in the middle of the year, you still have spent more than you budgeted. And so it would take, whatever you spend now will take a bite into fund balance without addressing any of the other variables that go into fund balance.
But as of 12/31, this contingent fund for this year goes back into the general fund and we start on the new one? Is that how it works?
You guys do have the authority to do contingency fund requests up through about a month or two into the next year.
Using the
Correct.
Okay, it's very confusing, sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Just trying to understand. Thank you. Norma's got her hand up, so maybe she knows.
Norma.
I just wanted to, so maybe confuse things even more. So,
Thank you.
yeah, no worries. So we, part of the reason why we see this kind of, this amount is because we released 3 POs, if folks remember, back in October, because we had the gadabout, we had some money in there for GIS, and we had some money in there for the Dewar geothermal, and we released all of those POs. So we added money back in August, and then through the action that you took in October, we've released those funds, which is why we're seeing a bit more funding in there than we would have thought should have been there. But that's just going to go back into the fund balance because we took it from the fund balance to replace, to cover the overages that we were seeing in August, in late July and mid-August due to the shelter changes.
So Norma, when you say that you release a PO, does that mean that there was a purchase order, but it wasn't executed?
Correct. That's right. And what that does is, and this is the benefit of having purchase orders. It helps us understand what the plan is for spending. But what we realized in October was we're not going to spend this money. We might just as well put it back into the contingent fund, release those funds to be used for other purposes. And that's what happened. So in doing so, it actually increased our available contingent fund for the rest of the year, which is why it looks a little higher. The bonus is, though, Deborah, is it's going to go back into the fund balance, which is where we had to take it from to cover the costs that we were seeing that were coming in for the shelter.
You failed to make it more confusing, Norma.
Good.
I think
Good.
I understand it better now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe I can reword it and this will help. We report everything as of 12/31 for the end of the year. And we won't be able to initiate any services or POs for anything past that point that will go back to 2025. But when it comes to accounting, and even your authority as the Ledge Board, you can still approve use of contingency funds up through about a month or two. After that point, it's already confusing January and February because we're kind of doing 2 years at the same time, but you do have the authority. But at that point, whatever you're moving is probably already spent and you're just moving it to cover shortfalls. So.
Okay, thank you.
Daryl or Norma, do we have anything on the horizon through the end of the year that might come as a big expenditure out of contingency that we're aware of?
I don't see a big expenditure, Mike. The only one I know of that I don't see listed here is the emergency funding to help with the food insecurities. So I don't see that as being, that should be coming from the contingent fund so that we can pay for that. But that's the only thing I know of right now.
Okay. And that's only 50,000, right?
That's only 50,000, right? And in the grand scheme of things, yeah, that's small.
All right.
I do have a few items on this committee, but I think it's totals under 100,000, so
It's $95,761.
thank you. So this is the contingency account. So what's new about this report is I've added the mandate contingency account. So the
That's a
interest.
separate account.
Yes, I want to say as of 2025, or maybe it was 2024, Norma may have to help me out on that. It was split out to be two contingency account, one for mandate expenses and one for everything else. Now, I added this for the first time to this report, and what I'm trying to point out here is the fact that this one, and this relates to the resolution that I'll be presenting in a little bit, is that this one's actually overdrawn by $20,600 or $761.
And how do we correct that?
So the resolution that I'm bringing up is to move it from contingency to mandate contingency. Normally, anything within the same budget unit we can do without bringing to ledge, but the fiscal policy states that anything contingency related has to be approved by you guys. So I believe the best approach would be to bring the transfer up in front of you guys to vote on.
So take the 20,000 out of regular contingency and put it in the mandate contingency.
Correct. It's just shifting things around to eliminate a negative in our books.
Okay. Randy?
Well, that's going to make the balance in this zero. Does that mean it's going to go away, or are we refunding it?
We have refunded it for 2026.
Okay, the mandate, how much did we fund for it?
1.5 something. Norma probably knows. I think it was,
Was that mandate or just,
remember, that was mandate contingent fund, and we're allocating that from the general fund.
Right.
In order to not add it to the tax levy.
okay, so this replenished this to
Yes.
1.75? Is that what it was?
Well, yeah, I can't remember exactly if it was 1.2, 1.5. Norma might know.
Norma might know better, but 1.75 sticks in my head.
Yep.
Yeah, someplace, okay, all right, thank you.
As of the end of the year, it is exhausted.
Good move to do that.
But yes, starting the next budget cycle, you have a budget in the mandate contingency fund.
Thank you.
We did not, the reason we developed that mandate contingent fund line at all, this was back when Lisa was here. We did it because we had those funds that came back from the state, and we just wanted to set those aside in the contingent fund and then rebudget those each year. It's really semantics at this point. If we're funding it from the fund balance, if we need to fund a mandate, then we'll just come back and take it from the fund balance to cover it. There's really not necessarily any reason to actually put a budget in the mandate contingent fund for 2026.
Bless you. I should mention that we have been joined also by our legislator, Amanda Champion.
Yeah. Sneezy, sleepy, and dumpy over here. Yeah.
Any further questions on the contingency?
There's nothing to sneeze at.
Not sleazy.
No, dumpy or sleepy, sneezy.
That's not one of the elves, dwarfs.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Darrell.
Okay, the next report is our quarterly or third quarter investment report. The graphics on the screen here show our cash balances by bank. As you can see, the majority of our funds sit in Tompkins Community Bank, and the rest, about 43 million, is in NICLAS at the moment. The rest is on screen and been presented to you guys to look at. Now the next chart shows by type. Now I did do something a little different with this one because I know personally when I see large amounts in checking accounts, I get concerned because checking accounts typically are your 0.01% interest. In this case, I did split a little out because we actually have such a fantastic relationship with Tompkins Community Bank that one of the checking accounts we have with them is at 3.1%. So that's why you'll see that little, it shows our money markets, our savings, checking, and then checking at 3.1%, just to help show. Now, the checking does say 30 million. I did want to point out there's a few things having to do with operations which constitute why that's so high. So for example, it landed right at the end of the month, our accounts payable. So 5.6 million of that is just recently been moved to a checking account to issue checks. Also, about 4.4 million for payroll. So that comes to 9.6 that was there just due to timing. And then 2 million is also due to timing of CDs. One is we were about to put it into a CD the next day that happened to be outside the quarter, and another one that just came out of a CD that we haven't turned around yet. So even though that amount looks very large, approximately 11 million of it is just due to timing. Now this chart shows all the interest rates that we're getting. I do want to point out the one for the savings is actually a weighted average because we get a lot of different percentages, and I didn't want to fill up the screen with all the different savings accounts we have. I didn't include the checking because other than a few small ones, most of them are at 0.01 or 0.03. This shows our monthly cash balance.
Cheryl, can I ask, why do we, if money market is only at 1.3, why do we have money market funds?
Because we're trying to diversify our funds, and it has to do with the difference in liquidity. So for example, our debt service cash sits in a money market because we could put it in NICLAS, but we already have a hefty amount in NICLAS to where we're hitting the roof of our policy. And if we do a CD, then we'll get fined for pulling it out early. Money market, we get, I want to say, 4 or 5 transactions before it becomes an issue.
Right.
It might not even be that, but and they tend to give us a better rate depending on the relationship with the bank, but it tends to be a better rate, not always, than some of the savings.
Makes sense.
Okay, so, but the average savings is a larger rate you've got here than the money market.
Correct. And one of those money markets is actually something that doesn't get treated like a money market that we're trying to look into. It's mainly just a matter of diversification, but we continue to look at it and increase our rates.
Thank you.
I've got a question, Mike.
Randy.
Thank you for this report. A lot of work's been gone into this the last couple of years, and I think you're doing a very good job with it, and I appreciate it. It's good to see that the Tompkins Community Bank is stepping up and being proactive with you. Have they provided data to you as to what and I know they look at this every day for every account, as to what your average balances are? For example, how your cash flow, they do cash flow analysis themselves. So it may save you, they could easily show you, because they have all the data, what your average balances are in all these accounts. So do they provide that data? Or?
They can. We just met with them not too long ago, and there is a document, it's an analytical document that shows our average balances, our transactions, as also shows the minimum amount that we have to keep in to waive the fees, what I call kind of a soft charge versus a hard charge. As long as you keep that balance on average, it's normally waived and part of the relationship. Now, I did request that information from them, but I haven't received it yet. But we do get that if wanted, and I can talk about it more once I get that information.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, let's move on.
Thank you. This one shows the monthly cash balance. As you can see, it kind of dips down, goes up. And a lot of it has to do with the spending and the collection of taxes. The last quarter, go ahead, Randy.
Finish what you and I got a question.
The last quarter, I only showed it through a year. This one I did a year and a half because I thought it might give a better picture of the swings of our cash balance. Because that's not directly related, but our balances and how much funds stay around increases our chance to earn interest and revenue on it. So,
What's the dotted line?
Let's get Randy. Randy, you had a question?
No, it's just an observation. So this is good data. I like looking at stuff like this because it shows a real trend. That's probably what the dotted line is, I guess. But I just want to make a point that in September 24, our cash balance was 116 million, and it's $24 million more a year later. So I don't know what's causing that, but it's pretty fluctuation on we pay things and all those kinds of things. But I think it's fascinating data. Probably as you look at this over many years, it may make more sense. But. So
part of that cash, I hate to say surplus, but that bump up throughout the years, we did ban for $10 million, approximately $10 million. And due to some complications with some of the projects, I don't think we've fully spent that down. Now, as I mentioned before, and I continue to look and figure out some explanations to the data, but about 9.6 million is just due to timing of our operations, and that's just checks going out. The next week, if I was to show this the week after, it would be about 11 million less.
Okay, thank you.
Deborah.
Randy answered my question. It's the
Okay.
trend line. Yeah, thank you.
All right, then let's move on.
So the next chart shows our monthly interest earnings. And to anticipate a question here and just kind of throw it out there, the big spikes have to do with CDs, amongst other things. Our approach currently is to record the CD interest when it matures. We're looking to change that process to kind of smooth it out and do a kind of an accrual a monthly. But currently that's why it goes up and down like that.
Okay.
Now the next one, I have a lot to talk about because at first glance it gives a wrong picture. So this shows the year-to-date interest earnings, and currently we have earned 2.4 million in interest. Now it shows here the budget for it is 2.3. Now this graph, I didn't get a chance to change it, and I'm kind of reusing the wheel created by my predecessor, but these figures are all funds. So even though the budget is 2.3 for all funds interest, 2.1 of that is the general fund, our A fund, the one that we talk about most of the time. Now the year-to-date earnings, it's a totally different story. So even though it looks that we've gone over, only about half of that, I want to say about 1.4 million is in the general fund. The remainder is in across various funds. My hope moving forward is to split that out and give you guys a little more of a picture on each of the funds, or at least certain funds, maybe not every fund, but the ones, the more operational ones and the bigger ones. I do want to point out, it's loosely related. We are working on a contract right now for our cash management software. So hopefully starting next year, once we get that all set up, we'll have more data at our fingertips on this stuff, and easier trends and graphs and other report possibilities. Any questions regarding the interests?
Just on what you just said, is that an RFP or are you going to particular vendors?
It is under the threshold to have to do that. So it's a vendor, it's actually the same vendor that we use for debt book.
Okay.
Because and one of the big selling points is it connects the data in our debt service, which is already in debt book, to our cash flow management software that we're looking at. So that was one of the big selling points.
Okay. Cannabis.
Not as high as we'd like.
I would say so.
What a dope.
Okay, the next report is the adult use cannabis tax. So as you can see, from June to August, Tompkins County, the portion that they retained is $29,600. The amount going to the city of Ithaca is $58,000. Town of Dryden, $29,400. And we actually have a few new towns on this chart. We have a dispensary in Danby and a dispensary in Ulysses. So Ulysses received $893 and Danby $393. With the exception of September through November of 2024, our cannabis is increasing a little but staying relatively flat. And we have approximately, to my knowledge, 8 dispensaries in the county currently.
Randy?
This has nothing to do with the sales tax, but in Newfield, they're building a large factory to make gummies and other things. And they're looking, and there's a law related to growing of marijuana. You can only use so many acres that you own to sell. So what this group is looking to do is they're going to lease out their land to many other people that can, I think it's a couple acres most that you're allowed to use to grow marijuana. But there has a big factory is using a lot of water, and I've been in touch with the health department because they're bringing water in. I mean, because it's a well, it's not a public system. So all the houses around there are worried about droughts and well issues and
Water tables.
Right, yeah, because it's in a high area up there and they're not high volume wells to begin with. So I'm in touch with the health department on that and in the town, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this factory. I'm just saying that it's a residential area and a big farm that was bought by somebody from outside of the state, and they're doing gummies. So,
Randy, may I suggest that they also look into the possibility of smell emitting from that facility and noise?
yeah, they've had issues with smell as well.
Because I know around the country, different places, residences near these facilities have been complaining about the smell.
Yeah, the only thing that the county can do related to water supply through the health department is if they're going to have over a certain number of employees, I believe it's 25 on a continuous basis, and also projections of what their water usage is. So I know the county health department is focused on that. So.
Okay, anything else? Oh, except that, I drive by that electric billboard every morning when I come down here, and now one of the dispensaries is advertising that they home deliver.
Really? That's nice.
So revenues will probably go up. I don't know.
Now, the last chart here is just a different view on the data, but it kind of reinforces what I just said, that for the past couple of quarters, the total receipt has been stable. Trending a little up, but nothing drastic. Any other questions regarding the adult use cannabis tax?
Hey.
Daryl, nice set of reports. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Actually, we don't budget anything for this, do we? We don't budget any revenue for this, do we?
I'd have to check to make sure. I don't think we did for 2025, but we did for 2026.
We did for 2026. How much?
We did for,
Okay, you get back to us on that. I couldn't remember if we did or not. So.
I can find out a concrete number. I do know we did. There was an amendment on the floor to add it in for the budget of 2026. I can get you some numbers, but I don't believe we budgeted for it in 2025.
Interesting.
Okay.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Looks like we've got a slew of resolutions.
Okay, I can go straight into the first one, next one on the budget.
All right, let's get it on to the floor. You're talking F, Contingent Fund Appropriation, Finance Department, Budget Transfer to cover mandate contingent fund deficit. Someone want to move that? Deborah, seconded by Lee. Go ahead.
I was just going to, there's really nothing to add. It's more semantics than anything. It's just to take, we're moving from one contingency to the next. It's more just to show that we are paying attention to our books and our ledgers, and one of the accounts was in the negative, and we are actively taking care of it.
Makes sense.
Questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. G is contingent fund appropriation, Finance Department, community college expenses outside Tompkins County. Someone want to move that one? Deborah? Lee? Darrell?
So this is an expense we are mandated by New York State education law to pay for a residents that go to school outside the county. And we already have overspent what we've budgeted. So this is just to cover the deficit and also put a little more for the remainder of the year, because we do have a few certificates of residencies that we received but have not yet received a bill for. So in order to pay those and still not go into a deficit any further, this is needed to appropriate more money.
Randy, go ahead.
Is this on the floor?
I'm sorry?
Is this on the floor? Did we do?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Do we budget more for next year for this?
I do not think we did. I can look and make sure.
Okay, thank you.
I can't ever remember us overrunning the chargebacks for out of county before. So does that mean that we've got a lot more students from Tompkins going to other community colleges, for example?
If I remember right, we have once or twice. I can send you guys all the data if it makes sense. I don't know exactly what it's saying, but it does appear that more kids are going to community colleges, and unfortunately, we've spent our budget.
Because over a lot of years, we've actually had more coming into our college than we had kids going out for the chargebacks. Lee?
But at the same time, didn't Amy report to us that the enrollment levels at Tompkins Cortland have gone up exponentially here in the last year?
Yeah.
So maybe a trend with community colleges, period.
Yeah, I expect that may be the case because tuition's gotten so high everywhere else. Can I ask?
Go ahead.
So the county pays for the students that go to out-of-county community colleges, but when TC3 bills for its out-of-county students, do they get the money in their budget? I
mean when other counties pay us?
Right. Do they pay us as a county, or do they pay TC3?
They pay TC3. They pay the school. The schools bill out to the counties where their students reside. And once they satisfy their requirements, the certificate of residencies and such, then they can send a voucher or a bill, and then it gets paid. But it goes to the school, not the county.
So when we pay the schools directly?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. Just trying to understand.
TC3 over the years has used those chargebacks to pay its share of some of our capital expenses that we've allocated, and that's why we ran into trouble here during pandemic and after, when the number of students diminished. They didn't have those chargeback funds that they had projected.
Thank you.
Did I hear from one of the trustees that when Cortland has difficulty raising their share or discussing it, I've heard it come back that if they were not to be a partner, the chargebacks to their county would exceed what their actual contribution is as a partner.
I think that's true because being a sponsor, Tompkins and Cortland, they are the recipients of, like, Tioga County and Cayuga and Seneca, students that come in from those counties. I think that's true, truly.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, no, I've heard
A number of years ago, I know the Cortland legislature, a different legislature than they have now, sent a delegation to Albany to figure out if they could save money by pulling out of the college, and they quickly found out they couldn't. Okay, ready to vote? Those in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, now we go to Resolution H, bond resolution authorizing the issuance of up to $1,950,000 in serial bonds and notes of the county to pay a portion of the cost of reconstructing Fall Creek Road Bridge located within the county. Lee moves it, seconded by Veronica.
Maybe you wanted to move it, Mike. I think it's in your district.
Well, I know, but I just as soon have you. You're very close to your district, too. Randy?
Does this go through the Facilities Committee too, or just through the Finance Committee?
It is scheduled to go through facilities as well.
Okay, I'll see.
Just due to timing, BCP was before facilities and infrastructure, but it should be scheduled to go to both.
Okay, I will save my questions for that then.
I do want to point out that we do have Bill Marcoy here, he's online. He is our bond counsel, so in case there's any questions that I can't answer that are more legal, just to let you know.
Bill, welcome, and we thank you for being here with us this morning, and we'll see if we have questions for you.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I do have to drop off in a few minutes for a 10 o'clock call. I don't know if there are any technical legal questions that have popped up before I drop off.
No.
Naturally, I'm available later today to talk with Daryl and get back to anybody individually.
Thank you, Bill.
I'm not seeing any hands,
Okay.
so go ahead and do your call, and thank you very much for being here with us.
Thanks. Pleasure to be here. Have a good day.
I think they're all our questions.
Okay, I guess we got to vote on this one. All those in favor?
So he doesn't get.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. All right, we go to I. Bond resolution authorizing the issuance of up to $2,400,000 in serial bonds and notes to pay a portion of the cost of road and highway system reconstruction and improvements at various locations throughout the county. Randy moving it?
Yeah.
Seconded by Veronica. Discussion about this one. Randy? Then Deborah.
So this is something we do every year, correct? And this is for actual doing pavement and those.
This is part of the 2025 road maintenance program, and yes, it has become a historic pattern to borrow for some of these.
Okay, so this is for something that's going to happen in 2026, or this already happened?
It's 2026. It's next year's. Sorry, I had my numbers wrong. It's 2026. It's for next year, not 2025.
Okay, and then how many years would this bond be anticipated for?
So I want to first start off saying that these resolutions are just to give me the authority, and it is just the maximum cost of it. That being said, I still have to talk with Highway, County Administration, and fiscal advisors to come up with a strategy. And I say it because this doesn't mean we'll necessarily bond for this. It may be a bond anticipation note, a ban. I'm still trying to find out whether we have other sources for this, whether it be CHIPS, state, or federal. Once I know that, if there's any other sources, then we would ban first and then convert whatever's left to a bond or decide what to do with that later. If we were to bond, the PPU or the length that we could go up to is approximately 10 years.
Okay, thank you.
Deborah?
Daryl answered my questions.
Isn't he good?
Yes, he is.
All right. Ready to vote on this one? All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. All right, we go to Resolution J, bond resolution authorizing the issuance of up to $3,430,000 in serial bonds and notes of the county to acquire certain machinery and apparatus for construction and maintenance. Veronica moves it, seconded by Deborah. Any discussion on this one?
Same question, this will go through the facilities as well?
Yes.
Great, thanks.
Ready to vote? Those in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. All right, we go to K. Bond resolution authorizing the issuance of up to $1,950,000 serial bonds and notes to acquire certain motor vehicles. Someone want to move that one? Veronica, seconded by Randy. Discussion on this. Go ahead.
So this wouldn't include the electric vehicles and things that we voted for in the budget?
Yes, so that is for everything 2026 to 2027 on the fleet spreadsheet that Terry gave you guys. What I was encouraged to do was see what we could do leveraging the budget that was approved to satisfy our scheduled needs when it comes to vehicles. Now, once again, I have to do the resolution to the maximum cost. That's why it looks so large. And I haven't talked strategy or whether or not we will borrow for this, but due to timing, the resolutions have to go through now just to give me authority. I believe there's approximately $600,000 in funding and about 700,000, maybe 800 in vehicles that were wanted in 2026. So it probably would be a ban if I was to think of an initial strategy without talking to our advisors. It's more to see our option, but to ban and then be able to satisfy all our needs if wished.
Because this figure is considerably larger than what we discussed on Terry's spreadsheet, so I'm a little confused.
Because that includes the second year as well. That includes 2027.
Okay.
It includes all the vehicles to lump them together. Vehicles, to answer possibly Randy's question, can only go for about 5 years. And the bigger chunk of the amount, and we did add 10% to all of it because we can't exceed that amount. So for the resolution purposes, it needs to be the max cost. Now, because it is for 2 years, I wouldn't initially bond. That's assuming after discussion and planning that we would even borrow for this. But my first initial thoughts are maybe ban and then go from there, which I am told is not abnormal to purchase vehicles by some municipalities, to ban and as you get the funding. The nice thing about the ban too is if you find additional funding next year, you can use it to pay it down rather than turning it into a bond. But this one's more about giving us options.
Yeah, so the bond period would be fairly short. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
For the benefit of folks at home, do you want to say what a ban is?
A ban is a bond anticipation note. It's kind of like a line of credit. You pay just the interest on it rather than a schedule. And doesn't have to, you can pay it down, but it is anticipation of turning it into a bond, which will come more to light to the next one. But especially if you've got a project that lasts multiple years, or if you have other funding, because once you do a bond, you can't pay it down until it's callable or other opportunities come up. So if there's any other source that could possibly be applied to it, grants, state funding, federal funding, it is better to ban first and see what funding you can do.
Thank you. All right, we're ready to vote on this one? All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. L is a bond resolution authorizing the issuance of up to 18,050,000 serial bonds and notes of the county to pay a portion of the cost of various capital improvement projects at various county facilities. Who's going to move that one? Deborah, seconded by Veronica. Go ahead. Any discussion?
Yeah, what improvements are we talking about here?
This is a 5-year. It's the 5-year facilities plan. It is for all the deferred maintenance that's happened over the years, and this is actually the total for all 5 years. And it's for various buildings, including the main courthouse, the old jail, this building, whole health, emergency response center, human services annex. It's a multitude of buildings. There is a plan that Arel provided of the 5-year plan, and it's just to give us options to accomplish that with the budget and the funding that was given.
Can I just say, and I'll take you, Deborah, just that I think there are 2 or 3 expensive roofs that we've got to be doing here. Go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, when we got a tentative budget from Holt for the Center of Government, there were renovations included in that, in the old jail and in this building. And I'm wondering if this bonding is going to pay for some of that as well.
I can verify. I don't know the answer to that initially.
I can.
Oh, thank you, Norma.
Go ahead, Norma.
Yeah, so it is not the same. It doesn't include any of the renovations for the old courthouse or the old jail.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Randy?
Yeah, we've been talking about this quite a bit, the Facilities Committee. And I appreciate all the work that people did to really realize what our true expenses are going to be over the next 5 years. And the number continued to climb. And so your question, Deb, surprised me a little bit because I thought that this included the potential renovations of that. So you haven't talked strategy about this, and I think we need to at the Facilities Committee. And I realize, and I thank Norma and Finance for looking at our capital budget, because this is really real dollars that we're going to have to spend over the next 5 years. And so understanding what that bond would really be helpful for our budget. So thank you.
The resolution does show under Section 2B and C, 900,000 for the old jail building and 1.5 million for the Governor Daniel D. Tompkins building. So there's something included here.
I think for this building, I think it's the roof, if I remember right, when we talked about it in your committee. And for the old jail, is that the removal of the old boilers?
That boiler thing, yeah, that's a mess.
Over there?
Okay, so there's
I think that's true, Mike. That's what those are.
Okay.
But not for reconfiguration expenses.
No, it's not the reconstruction. Randy doesn't do it. Doesn't do it. He gives me a sign here that says
I'll say my question.
he's good. Are we ready to vote on this one? All in favor? That's unanimous.
For anyone who wonders, we've just approved borrowing $27,780,000.
Easy said, easy
Million
done.
here, a million there.
Yeah, before you know it, you're talking real money, yeah.
That's right. I mean, now we've got corporate officials being paid $1 trillion, so this is just amazing. The next resolution, I'm going to turn to Maury Josephson to talk to us about. We don't actually have the resolution today, but I think we're going to have it next meeting, if I'm not wrong, Maury. Maury,
that's correct. Apologies for not having it today. If you recall, a few months ago, we had done a do-over of the creation of the tax stabilization reserve. We need to do the do-over again because the resolution needs to be published in the event somebody wants to petition for a referendum on what is basically an accounting issue. And the reason we need to do it over again is because of the timing of when the resolution was approved the last time didn't line up with the publication schedule of our one and only county newspaper, which will be debated intensely at our next legislature meeting. So I was hoping to have that resolution done and before you today. It'll be there in December. Hopefully, this reserve will become available if needed for use next year.
questions about that for Maury? Okay, thanks for that explanation, and we'll look forward to next month.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you.
very exciting.
Anything else you want to say to us, Maury, before we move on?
No, other than we did receive an offer letter back from our candidate following up on the last legislature meeting and the approval of that resolution. And she'll be starting December 8th. I look forward to introducing her to you at the next legislature meeting thereafter.
Oh, that's great news, and we look forward to meeting that candidate.
And as always, any questions as a group or individually that legislators have, please feel free to reach out.
Okay, should we move on to our Human Resources Commissioner, Ruby Pulliam?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple announcements from me before I turn it over to Larry. Our open enrollment ends Friday, November the 14th. That's this Friday, November the 14th. Open enrollment ends. Therefore, any changes that need to be made to health plans, flexible spending accounts, the voluntary benefits, all of that should be done by Friday, November the 14th. There's also a space on the form that if you don't want to make any changes, we added that so we can make sure that nothing falls through the gaps. So we're asking all employees, everyone who's on the health plan, to actually fill out the form, even if it's just to indicate that you don't wish any changes to be made. That's this Friday, November 14th.
Have you been
4:30.
watching my personal to-do list?
I'm just reminding, from personal experience, we would like just to remind them. And also, on a note, the staff, I can't commend them enough. In a very short time, they've done several in-person presentations at various departments. They've done Zoom presentations. This year, they even added a booking app so that people can book appointments one-on-one. So I've got to do something very special for them after this ends, because they may not have any hair left. With all the changes, it's been pretty intense. For the most part, the changes were positive. 2 out of the 4 bargaining units signed the MOAs. That's the blue and white collar. Corrections and road patrol, the lower cost option is not available to them. And that's all for open enrollment. In the way of announcements, we will be having county admin and HR are coming together for an open house on December the 19th from 8:30 to 12 noon in our new space. That's so you can see the space. Employees are welcome. Staff will be on hand to answer any quick questions, but we just wanted to be open, let everyone see where we were, and in case someone has a quick question following up open enrollment and anything like that, we will be on hand to answer those questions. That's December 19th from 8:30 to 12.
So this is a really important question. Are you doing your Christmas tree contest again this year?
Well, we are not doing a contest, but there will be several trees.
Okay.
County admin doesn't quite know what to make of us yet.
Well, they'll just have to get used to you.
Yeah, they're coming along just fine.
Ruby, I attended yesterday the presentation for retirees as to the new Medicaid Advantage option, Medicare Advantage. Sorry, Medicare Advantage option. I thought it was a good presentation. They answered a whole lot of questions from people. These were not only folks that are retiring like me, but other folks that have been retired are being given this option. And it's apparently, this is the Broome County group, not because our consortium couldn't offer this apparently. And I think it's a real savings. The retirees seem very, very pleased to hear about it, and most of the questions got answered. Some had questions about particular formulary issues with prescriptions and things like that, but I wanted to thank your department for putting that on. I know they're doing several of those presentations, but I found it very helpful.
Thank you. The last one is today. The last presentation is today. But the Zoom presentation is online for anyone who wants to just go back and listen if they weren't able to make it. That being said, Larry?
All right, good morning. Let's go through our numbers for October. So we had 784 county staff on the books as of October 31st. Of course, that was 319 election workers were added there because of the elections that we just had. Our postings, there are 62 postings on our vacancy page. 24 are for county titles and 38 are for our municipal partners. Outreach has been really busy. Our Gov delivery, so the targeted emails, and of course our online postings. Job fairs, I've had pretty much a job fair once a week, and there's some more coming up. Made really good connection, again, I've said this before, with some of our state partners, and they are putting on civil service job fairs just for us that fall under that umbrella. We had one yesterday, and it was very, very well attended. Applications, 530, 315 were for the municipalities, 215 for the county. That's definitely up. Civil service tests that were posted were 3. We got 13 applicants for those. We gave 2 tests with 9 people in attendance. We onboarded 10 new employees, and we had 1 exit interview for that month. Benefits, 4 people took the dental, 4 for vision, 9 for the health insurance, 1 for flex spending, and of course 10 for the basic life and AD&D. For leaves, we had 28 disability leaves, 21 cancer screening, 10 bereavement, and 5 for jury. And for trainings, the Leadership Development Series kicked off on the 15th with 24 participants, so a very full house for that. And it made up of 13 different departments, took opportunities for that. And the first session, of course, was called Owning Your Impact, with a Myers-Briggs component to that.
Questions? That's very useful. Thank you, Larry.
Yep.
That concludes our report.
Thank you much. Well, we got a bunch of resolutions. A lot of them are sort of year-end resolutions, but why don't we start going through them? Resolution A, budget adjustment, Department of Social Services, New York State Child Care Block Grant. Someone want to move that? Veronica, seconded by Deborah. Who wants to tell us about this one?
We have Thomas online.
Who?
Thomas.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, good afternoon, or good morning, sorry. It's been a long day already.
Thanks for being with us.
The Child Care Block Grant has had the unfortunate happenstance, which is also a great happenstance, of expanded eligibility. So when we budgeted for this, we did not expect to spend as much as what we had. And this is just ensuring that we can make those payments through the end of the year and keep this program funded. It is completely taken care of through the Child Care Block Grant. So it's the Child Care is the name of the actual program, and the Child Care Block Grant funds it.
So this is budget neutral?
Yes.
It's just moving money from one account to another?
Yeah, so yeah, it's just asking to basically allow us to spend the money, and then we'll get the money reimbursed by state and federal government.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Randy.
If this happens again next year, does a block grant continue to pay for that increased cost?
That's actually why we started the wait list, was to try to keep it within that amount. We did budget for more local costs for next year because of the expanded eligibility. We don't know if the state's going to give us more funds when it comes to the Child Care Block Grant for next year.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, ready to vote on this one? All those in favor? That's unanimous. Also, out of social services, we've got budget adjustment, food net contract. This is resolution B. Someone want to move that one? Veronica, seconded by Shauna. Tom, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, so this is the concerns the MOU between Mental Health Services of Tompkins County Whole Health and Department of Social Services. this money was previously allocated to St. John's Community Services as they had run the shelter in previous years. Okay. And it's moving it from giving the money to St. John's to giving it to us to work with the same clientele because we were running the shelter this year.
I guess this is the food net contract, right?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the MOU. I apologize. Let me pull that one up. I apologize. Give me one moment.
This is a $47,500 budget adjustment for.
So it's also related to the shelter. It's the increase in cost because we've had a lot more need for FoodNet to deliver food to the shelter.
Okay.
And so we just want to, we're not going to spend that entire amount, but we just wanted to make sure we had the spending authority for the contract.
All right. Questions? Ready to vote? Those in favor? That's unanimous. Yes, Daryl?
Sorry, I apologize if I can't just speak up like that. But I wanted to bring up something about the previous one, the child care block grant that was noticed this morning and didn't get noticed through the process. The numbers, the accounts on there are duplicate. They're duplicated. I spoke with Thomas this morning, so if we can adjust that, however manner it is, we don't need to adjust 792,000 twice.
Thank you, Daryl.
You're welcome.
So that copy pasted twice.
So we got to change some account numbers. Is that what we're talking about?
No. They're just duplicated.
The second portion just needs to be removed. It's just an accidental pasted twice.
Okay, Taylor,
Got it.
you with that? Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Well,
That would be a first error.
all right, so we'll assume that that was gone for what we voted on. All right. Thank you for that help, Tom.
Thank you.
Let's go to Resolution C, authorizing a public hearing on Local Law C of 2025, a local law adding the position of Chief Equity and Diversity Officer to the Tompkins County Charter. Someone want to move that? Moved by Veronica, seconded by Shauna. And I think Amanda's here to talk about it.
I am. Thank you so much. Thanks for having this on your agenda and considering it. We did talk about this last week. Was that Geo? No, 2 weeks ago? I don't know.
Last week.
I've completely lost track of time. Yeah, and so I've talked to a lot of you about this. This is essentially an idea that came out of the this is a resolution that came out of the idea of adding the Chief Equity and Diversity Officer into the charter so that it is a permanent position. As it is now, it's when any given employee leaves the position over the past 5 years, there tends to be some questioning of whether we need the position and what if their work that they're doing is worthy. So my thinking was that having this in the charter is really just a way of saying, yes, we want this position. We want the person in this position to be continuing the work and working with our other folks, employees and outside groups or partial outside groups like WDIC to the CEDO position works with all of them and can bring them all together. I know there's a lot of concerns about it, about whether, I think someone said having this hamstrings our future legislatures or administrators. I'm not really sure what that means. I think there's in the packet materials, I think it was all included, there is the language that I wrote out that Maury transferred into a local law. But essentially, we we've had a lot of talk about the Office of Human Rights and the CEDO and all, the various groups that do diversity and equity and human rights work. But I think setting this aside as its own position really enforces that this is something that we believe in and that we want. And going forward, the job description, the actual actions, the actual work that the person in this position does can change and can vary and can, be based on what any given legislature wants them to do or what administration thinks is important. Another concern I heard was that we should not be making this decision as a legislature that will be changing in 5 or 6 weeks. I have spoken to a couple of the incoming legislators. I know at least 2 of them support this, and we may be finding out that more of them do. I'm checking in with folks. And I think it's important for this group, this current legislature, to decide if this is something that we value. And if it's not, then it won't pass, and so be it. But I think pushing it off to the next legislature doesn't make a lot of sense. We are still legislators. We still have rights. We still have a vote, and all the resolutions that you just passed will carry on into the future. So anything that we pass now does still count in the future. So I'm sort of rambling. I'll stop there. I'm happy to answer questions. I know folks have lots of thoughts. Yeah, thanks.
Shauna.
Thank you, Amanda, for working on this and for bringing it forward. And just to note, there are actually 2 resolutions. This resolution that we're voting on now is just for the public hearing. And I hope that we can at least pass this, because I think it's important for us to hear what our public has to say about anything that might come before this legislature. I believe that good government likes to hear from its constituents, and so I hope that it gets the chance to have that option. I will say that we just finished up doing a very extensive strategic plan, and what we heard really loud and clear was the need for us to prioritize our DEI efforts, both inward to our employees as well as outward to our constituents through the Office of Human Rights. Whenever we look at the charter, it does talk about the many other department heads that we have in our organization. And I think for us to leave this position out really provides a void, and it somewhat prioritizes this position or deprioritizes the position whenever it's not mentioned. And so I think we need to make that equal to some of the other department heads. And then I'll just add that, whenever we talk about culture and whenever we talk about Tompkins County as a whole, we look at the bottom of our letterhead. We look at, again, the feedback that we receive from our constituents, even as often as our last meeting, we had a handful of people come in and talk about how important their protections are here in our county. And I think this is a move forward for that, in offering people a place that they know they can live where their protections are there for basic human rights. Thank you.
Randy.
Yeah, I think this should go to a public hearing. I agree with that. I would like to see, and I guess I can go to the charter myself, what other positions are actually in the charter? Maybe just a simple list of that, and to share with everybody so they know what the other positions are there in the charter. So I'll save my discussion for later on.
Amanda, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, pretty much all of them. The departments are listed, and then they say there shall be a director or commissioner of that department. I don't believe, I'd have to go back and look, that it lists there shall be a deputy, or it doesn't list all of those, but they do list each department shall have a director. And then there's this other section down below that, that's called other administrative units, and that includes the Veterans Director, Energy Director, something like that. I feel like,
Sustainability Officer?
yeah, but it's called like energy, what's?
When it's my turn, I'll talk.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so, and I believe, yeah, anyway, I'll step there. But yeah, pretty much all of the departments and some of their officers are listed.
Veronica.
I pulled up the charter, so if you'll let me, I'm gonna try to quickly read through. I'm not clicking into the whole charter, but it's very, very nice website, very navigable, by the way, in case anyone wants to read it. But it's, yeah, Amanda does. But anyway, truly, it's separated into a few dozen articles. Each article deals with, most of the articles are each dealing with a department and then other things. And then within them, the sections, some of the sections, the name of the section is a position title. And so if you'll let me quickly just read the names of the sections that are position titles. We have county legislators, chair of the Tompkins County Legislature, vice chair of the Tompkins County Legislature, chief executive officer, deputy administrators and directors, county administrator, director of assessment, a lot of assessment stuff, director of finance, county attorney, deputy county attorneys, commissioner of human resources, commissioner of whole health, director of community services, public health director, medical examiner, director of community services, maybe I already said that, commissioner of planning and sustainability, airport director, facilities director, highway director, recycling and materials management director, commissioner of social services.
A lot of them.
Yeah, director of weights and measures, sheriff, deputy sheriffs, jail physician, district attorney, deputy or assistant district attorneys, county clerk, director of probation and community justice, director of the Department of Emergency Response, Department of Youth Services director, Office for the Aging director, director of human rights, workforce development director, employment and training deputy director, supervising attorney, this is under Department of Assigned Counsel, director of information technology services, county energy coordinator, county historian, county veteran service agency director, and I think that's all. So those. And if I can tag on in that light, I think that the chief equity and diversity officer position completely fits within the charter as not a department head, but a head of the program. And as you heard, there are certain other positions named in there that are not department heads, like county energy coordinator, which I don't know why.
Well, I don't know what the director of community services is. I've never heard of that before. Mike, do you have?
I would have to go back to the charter and read what it said, but.
Sometimes the names, the term commissioner of whole health as used in this charter shall have the same meaning as the term director of community services as defined in the mental hygiene law.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So some names are a little different. The charter says that we have a department of law, by the way. We call it the county attorney's department, but
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, I think the chief equity and diversity officer belongs here, and essentially adding it to the charter is codifying what we already do and have been doing for the last 5 years, which the end of this 4-year term of legislature is I could hardly think of a better time to make this change.
We had a really thorough discussion in your committee, the government operations, including hearing from our county administrator, Corsa Comfy, who said he hadn't really done a deep drill into this because this issue of, should we combine this with the human rights director, for example? I don't think there's any proposal out there to do that at this point, but it seems to have been floated out there, and he really didn't say that he was proposing that. I voted for this resolution in committee, saying that I would support it going to public hearing, but I would not necessarily support it putting in the charter. And the reason for that is I've often felt that this position should be within our Human Resources Department, and that it is a very expensive standalone position. And at the committee, there were discussions about, do we know exactly what this person has been doing for us? I think Charlene did a wonderful job for us, frankly. Was very pleased with what she did, and that report she did at the end helped a lot. But I'm not sure I can support adding this to the charter to make it permanent. I just think that it needs further discussion. Anyone else? Deborah, then Veronica again.
All due respect, Amanda, but I disagree that this is the right time to do this. My concern about this is I feel we're so close to the end of this legislature. We should let the next legislature make this decision. And I do take issue with your comparison between this and the other resolutions that we pass. I mean, we pass resolutions now so that the county can continue to operate financially, for example, right now and into the future, because there's no one else to make those decisions. I think that this proposal is different because this is not an operational decision. This is a decision that changes the structure of our government permanently. I'm not saying that I object to that change over the long term. I'm just saying that I think that the next legislature should be here for the public hearing and should make this decision. So for that reason, I will vote against this now, not necessarily next year. Thank you.
Have Ann Corman on the screen.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, for letting me chime in. I think now, just to talk about the current, one aspect of it, of why now. So I think this current legislature and legislatures before us, worked on trying to get this position. We heard going back probably now almost 20 years that this position was needed. This is coming from county employees, that this position was needed, and it took a long time to get this position instituted. It coincided that we, just a little history too, it coincided that we posted this position subsequent to the George Floyd murder, but it was a position we had been working on, and predecessors to me had been trying to get this position, instituted in the county. So this was a long time coming. So I think, to me, this is the, codifying that position, with the history, with the input from our employees, that I don't think we need a new legislature to take a look at this. We've been looking at this. We've been seeing the benefits of it. We're having reports out now. We've had 2 departments report out to WDIC on how they're implementing these strategies. So I think right now it is a time to kind of put a cap on this, because just thinking about history, this is something I think we're going to look back on and go that we did the right thing at the right time, so to speak. when we look at bigger institutions, whether they're businesses or universities, they have these, they have these positions, and typically they don't look at them, when the director leaves. And that's what's been happening, that the director leaves and we go, oh, should we, replace this person? Veronica listed all the other positions. We don't do that for those other positions. And so I think for this one, it leaves us in the position of having to justify it over and over again from the people that know the work and that are in there doing the work. And so I'm just asking people to trust us, bring it to a public hearing. There's been an outreach to the people that are elected, or the legislator elected. I think that's the right term. To come and give us their feedback. So I'm hoping we hear from them too. So thanks for letting me chime in.
Amanda. Deborah, would you take the gavel for a minute, please?
Sure. Where's the gavel?
Throw it.
Just bang hard.
No.
This would be a good time to throw it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure folks generally have their minds made up, but thanks for all the comments for everybody. Mike had said, he felt like maybe we need to look more into this, and Corsa hasn't done a deep dive, but this is a policy change. This is not something that we need Corsa to do a deep dive into, whether we want to have this position or not. And I think what the deep dive could be in the future is exactly what does the person do? If there's confusion or concern about how this position spends its time, or the reports we're getting out of it, or the equity indicators, all of those things can still be defined. And as a new person comes into the role, can still say, here's what this could look like. Here's the job that we want them to do. Here's, how we want them to report back. All of that is still flexible. Supporting this is literally just saying we want to have this position and we want it to continue into the future. And we can keep going back and forth, Deborah. I think we still have a voice, and we still have a right to set policy in the next 6 weeks. So I think folks have said a lot. I guess I can end there.
Well, I don't want to call for a vote while the chair is indisposed, so.
Sure, then.
Oh, Randy has a remark. Thank you.
On the charter, thanks for reading all those. It would be good to know if those positions are all filled, and if there are some names in there that maybe should be cleaned up or corrected or coincided somehow, would be helpful. But
don't we do a charter review every 10 years? Bless you, Shauna.
10 years. I think it's 2027 is the next one.
Yeah, because I remember they do every 10 years, they have a charter review committee and they do a review of the charter. I suspect, for example, when Veronica told us that the director of community services is actually the director of whole health, I think it may be that some of the positions in the charter are dictated by state law.
Right.
That says you have to have this position, but what we call it might be something different.
Right. It'd be just nice to know if they're all filled and if there's some that are unfilled. I assume they're all filled, but I don't know.
I think we'll probably be cleaning up the charter in the next couple of years.
You can be on that committee, Randy, the charter review.
Do we have do we have non-elected members, Amanda?
I don't think so.
We might call you back from the North Country.
But I do have a question, and Ruby, you don't have to answer this, okay? But the discussion about if that position belongs in human resources, I kind of like that discussion a little bit. And I'm curious what your thoughts are if there's more value or less value in HR.
Okay. Prior to my dive into HR, I was equal employment officer from the city of Niagara Falls. And one of my major goals was to embed equity and diversity into our HR practices. That being said, our priorities and our focuses are sometimes totally different. As an HR commissioner, my job is to protect the county, reduce risk, manage risk. As a chief equity diversity officer, sometimes you have to go in and, as Charlene used to say, I told her all the time, her word was disrupt, to disrupt those policies and procedures. My job is to enforce those policies and procedures. So the source of is not exactly my focus in HR. How those policies came to be, once it's brought out by someone in the Chief Equity Diversity Officer, we can work together to fashion it the way it should be. However, if the policy and procedure is on the books, if I have an employee who's absent 27 times, my job is to enforce the policy. The Chief Equity and Diversity Officer can dig a little deeper, work with the department, not necessarily HR, work with the department to figure out if there's something going on within that department that caused that employee to be absent 27 times. So we can work together, but our focuses on some things are totally different.
I appreciate that answer. Thank you.
And that's just off the top of my head. I haven't really thought through this or discussed it with.
Mike, unfortunately, you missed some of this, but Ruby was.
I have to go out for a minute, sorry.
Yeah, but Ruby was explaining why I gather, in her opinion, the CEDO doesn't necessarily belong in HR and probably shouldn't be there. Am I gathering that correctly?
Not without some clear parameters.
Okay, like a Chinese wall sometimes. Yeah.
Other comments? Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, just on that, thanks, Ruby. I know that has been a question that has come up. I mean, I think the goal originally of the CEDO position when it was originally, created 5-6 years ago was that it would be an upper level position that could work with all the departments. It wouldn't just be about HR, it wouldn't just be about administrating. It would still, there would still be a supervisor, there would still be accountability, but it would be that person who could talk to everyone. And, I think that's one of the things that Charlene did was that she went to every department and said, what are your concerns? What are your issues? What are, what can I help you with? And the HR, the commissioner, you don't have the time to do that.
We work together.
Right.
So it's, like I said, it's kind of, you have two different.
Please.
Okay. Sorry. We work together on that.
Right.
So it's, like I said, they're just kind of different focuses to bring back the whole picture, to get the context of.
Yeah.
So it's not that, HR goes department to department as well, but we're focusing on certain things.
Right.
Whereas the Chief Equity and Diversity Officer focuses on a portion of that in order to make the policy or the practice more inclusive.
Right.
And there's also the senior leadership and the authority of the Chief Equity and Diversity Officer. In most places, it's placed right under the CEO, so that authority runs through to that position.
Yeah, and I think that was the original intent, was that this position would report to the county administrator and work closely with the deputy administrators to be at that level, so it's permeating out to the whole organization, not just HR. Yeah.
Go ahead, Veronica.
Two things. One, I actually want to push back on something Amanda said, of all people, despite my deep agreement with you. You said, I think.
Ooh, popcorn.
That I think I heard you say that this amendment of the charter, in discussing why this doesn't require an analysis from our administrative staff. You said that this would be a policy change, but it wouldn't be, because it would be codifying something about the structure of our government. It would not be changing any policy. And in fact, I just looked to check, we have a policy manual full of policies, including a diversity, equity, and inclusion policy that mentions the Chief Equity and Diversity Officer, abbreviated CEDO, a ton of times. There's some like the county administrator shall, the county administrator will, the commissioner of human resources shall, and a lot of the CEDO will, the CEDO will, the CEDO will, in consultation, blah, blah, blah. So this position is already embedded in our policy. If we got rid of the position at this moment, it wouldn't violate our charter, but it would cause like administrative issues. It would literally prevent us from following our own policies, and that would be a whole thing we would have to change. So it's not like, I think that we should codify this, but it's not even a policy change. It's keeping. And we can go in whatever order. Mike, could I ask you a direct question?
Well, of course. I don't promise a direct answer, but.
Oh, sure. You said that you thought that this needed further discussion, but, so my question is like, to find out or to determine what? Like, what would the goal be of additional discussion?
Whether the position should remain the way it is, or should there be changes, or should the position sit somewhere else? Amanda, I do want to get to a vote on this at some point.
Yes, I know. We're just talking at this point. To your point, Veronica, yes, it's not changing a policy in the policy manual. I think I'm using the word policy in the way that our annual budget is a policy. It's a policy statement. This is what we believe in, and we're backing it up with money. I think that's sort of what I meant. Like, adding this position to the charter is in the big picture a policy saying that we value this.
Okay, can we get to a vote then on the issue of whether we send this proposed local law to public hearing? All those in favor of sending it to public hearing? 1, 2, 3, 4. Those opposed? 1, 2. All right. I think if we're going to send it to public hearing, we really need the second resolution as well. Adoption of local law number E of 2025, the local law adding the position of Chief Equity and Diversity Officer to the Tompkins County Charter. Someone want to move that? Veronica moves it. Is there a second? Seconded by Shauna. Any more discussion? Just to put it to the legislature, go ahead.
I'm not going to vote for this one.
Okay. Shauna?
So just to confirm, it's already been voted by another committee, is that correct? So it will be on our agenda?
Yes.
Contrary to how this vote ends?
Yes. But it just seems to me that if you're going to have a public hearing, you ought to have the resolution out there. Go ahead, Amanda.
Just to clarify, the resolution, the one you just voted on to set the public hearing, will be on next week's legislature agenda. This resolution would not be on that agenda until 2 weeks after that.
Can we vote? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3. Those opposed? 1, 2, 3. That fails. Another tie vote. Okay, now I think the next series of resolutions are all kind of end of year things that we do every year. Hopefully we aren't going to have a whole lot of discussion on them, but let's see. Resolution C, authorization to sign drafts, County Administrator. Someone want to move that one? Randy, seconded by Deborah. Any discussion? Those in favor? Those opposed? That's unanimous. F is resolution approving completed tax rolls and directing the executing and delivery of the warrants, the tax warrants. Someone want to move that? Veronica, seconded by Deborah. Discussion? Those in favor? Glad we're all in favor of taxing people here.
Oh, yeah. Even the
That
Republicans.
passes unanimously, huh? Resolution G, authorization to finance director to make year-end transfers, appropriations, and budget adjustments as required. Moved by Randy, seconded by Lee. Discussion. Those in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. H is town and city budgets and the printing of the tax rolls. Someone want to move that? Randy, seconded by Veronica. Any discussion? Those in favor? That's unanimous. Authorization to disperse funds. This is Resolution I, County Administration. Someone want to move that one, please? Veronica, seconded by Deborah. Discussion. Those in favor? Any opposed? Lee, you're voting which way? Okay, that's unanimous. And J is authorization to participate in various contracts let by any government entity of the United States of America. Someone want to move that? Randy moves it, seconded by Veronica. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we got through the resolutions, and we've got a couple of minutes if there are any committee member reports this morning. Shauna.
Yeah, I would just, I know that Randy and I have talked a few times about the city of Ithaca and the amount that they pay to use our dispatch center. And their, I believe we would refer to it as their tax reimbursement rate to the county. Is that what we would call it?
Oh, it's part of the sales tax agreement.
I would love it if we could kind of earmark that conversation. And, you know, I know that we can't make rules for future legislatures, but it would be great if that, if we remember in January or February to have that be one of our priorities for this committee. Because I think it's really important, and I think that unfortunately we're definitely soaking up the cost for the service that they use. And it's probably a very, very large expense. So.
Thank you.
I would simply say that it's probably a can of worms we're opening, because a few years ago, they were coming to us saying that you just ought to take over the whole cost.
That's funny.
Well,
They were.
We were in a meeting yesterday where a common council member basically said that the city's budget was in the toilet. So I don't know that we're going to get very far by getting any more money out of them. And the sales tax agreement is a can of worms. Yeah. So I don't know. But we can talk about it next year. Yeah.
I can give you a lot of history on it, and it's always, as Mike says, been a can of worms, but you start raising that amount that you expect from the city, it has implications on the director's ability to run the department, because suddenly you've got a local government saying, we pay for this service and we demand that you operate it in this way. Makes it real hard for the department head to manage. So something to think about, and I can give you the complexities on that, but I went through hell with some of the city mayors just because of that $180,000 out of a $5 million budget. It wasn't worth the headaches.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
But, Shauna, thank you for bringing that up. I think it would be worthy of a discussion at budget, or I guess maybe public safety next year.
Yeah.
Other committee reports? No hands. All right. Ready to adjourn?
Yep.
We're adjourned.
Before you do so,
I'm sorry?
this is Bill Marquardt. I popped back in.
Oh, thank you.
Wondering if there are any bond resolution technical legal questions that I could address?
I don't,
You sound so hopeful, Bill.
go ahead.
If
Lee.
there's questions on these, they're all going to hit public works, or, excuse me, infrastructure, facilities and infrastructure next week. Are you planning to be there, Daryl, or?
I plan on being there, and I did let Bill know about it. It's the one, I believe, 9 o'clock on the 20th. It's facilities and infrastructure. I can touch base with you later, Bill, to ensure, but I plan on being there.
I
Sounds good. I'll try to join as well.
I don't think we had any technical questions this time.
Okay.
But thank you again for coming back in.
My pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks to everyone. We're adjourned. Thanks particularly to Taylor Spencer and Rob Henry for being with us at the meeting. And Maury, thank you for being here.